is it possible that you've had it this entire time and they were false negative tests? What is your doctor saying, and how could this happen?
You know, it's certainly possible. I think at this point, nobody really could say for sure what's happened. But, you know, I had a lot of neurological symptoms in the beginning, is how it started for me. I ended up in the hospital being treated for Guillain-Barré. And then, you know, ended up with 2 negative tests the following weeks after that. Still had a lot of neurological symptoms, but they told me to expect that for maybe even months. After
when you say neurological symptoms, what specifically do you mean?
A lot of weakness in my muscles, numbness, tingling, shooting pains, like electrical shooting pains, just every few seconds, zapping everywhere through my body, migraines, you know, just feeling super dizzy. Also, my heart rate and my blood pressure is really off, and it still continues to be off, like 240 over 145 blood pressure when I've never had blood pressure issues. And then also heart rate. I had a tilt table test done at my cardiologist, and they had me stand up for 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes my heart rate was 204. So those are the type of neurological, like the autonomic nervous system issues that are happening for me. But to move forward, the beginning of June I started to come down with a lot of GI symptoms that I hadn't been having, you know, vomiting, nausea, you know, no appetite at all, like just not hungry, days without eating. And so I went and got tested again, and it came back positive. So.
Okay. So, my goodness, my heart goes out to you and Dr. غوندر as we listen to her, and especially talking about her horrific symptoms for all the, you know, two different times. I've never heard of this before, and I thought, all right, you get COVID, like the silver lining is you end up with antibodies, and hopefully you don't get it for quite a while. How is this possible medically?
Well, we actually saw this early in the epidemic with data coming out of South Korea that people were testing positive over a long period of time. And I think one thing to emphasize here is we do not think this is reinfection. Many people, it's sort of like if you think a burglar breaks into your house and they leave fingerprints all over your house and then they leave, you might still find the fingerprints even though the burglar is no longer in your house. And that's essentially what is happening with the coronavirus test, the PCR test, which is looking for the genetic material of the virus. Now, that said, the tests and the symptoms she's having are somewhat separate. So, you know, the problem with coronavirus is even once the virus is gone, it has created a lot of damage, so people can end up with additional pneumonias, bacterial pneumonias, strep, staph, and so on, as a consequence of the damage that's been done to their lungs. A major way this virus causes disease is through a really inflamed, upregulated immune system, which can attack the body. And then you also have, as part of that, inflammation of blood vessels. So the symptoms that she's having are actually quite consistent with what you might expect in somebody who's having ongoing, you know, issues with the immune system and with the blood vessels.
Okay, and Michelle, I just want to give you the quick last word, and then I'm going to say goodbye. You know, it's summertime. There are some folks in parts of the country, we've seen some of the uptick in a lot of these cases in certain states, and people thinking, not that big of a thing anymore. What do you want to say to those people?
You know, I say that it's probably hard if you aren't experiencing it or you don't know anybody going through it. It may be easy to try to put out of the back of your mind, but when you're in this situation, I've been in bed for almost 9 weeks. So it's completely upended my life as well as my family's life. And, you know, don't take it lightly. It's not something I think anybody really knows quite yet long-term how this is going to affect people. So, you know, take care of yourselves and take care of other people.